nearly as much lately, with both heroes sort of falling out of favor. But I mean, obviously Invoker does better in this matchup now that he can have those Forge Spirits up from fairly early on. But this is still a lane that TA can just completely get out of control on.
Yeah, and this is an interesting matchup. I mean, yeah, you talked about it. It's not the easiest to gank the hero either, but it's definitely not impossible for Alliance to just roam, especially with the two heroes they have. The Ogre and the Scarith are, and even just the Scarith alone, even against Refraction, might be difficult, but it's still possible. It's still plausible. Some information I had going into the last match, but was not able to use because I didn't see it on Skype, came from Beef, I think, which is Complexity's manager. He works with Complexity, and he mentioned how My Nuts used to be the jungler for Stay Green, which of course was the former Complexity squad when they were playing Han. So, I mean, there's a lot of Han players in this game.
Yeah,
30 seconds.
And that's the thing. There's been a tremendous influx of talent from that scene, and I mean, you're seeing, people still joke about Han Trash, but Moon has been playing just about as well as anybody I've seen over the past month or so. So some of these players are definitely legit.
Yeah, I mean, and that's without even talking about Zai and PPD. So
yeah, of course, for sure. But somebody we haven't talked about yet that may end up being a huge factor in this match is Z-Freak on the Rubik. This is a game where Rubik is going to have a lot of stuff to steal, and a lot of these spells can really turn the fight.
Important to note, Z-Freak was playing the Nature's Prophet. He usually plays a support. He's well known for his Scarith Mage, especially in the game in Canada Cup, where it was Sna versus Complexity. And there was about 100 and some odd kills at like 30 minutes or something ridiculous. Caudle and I had the pleasure of casting that one, and he had a ridiculous amount of kills in that game. It was something like over 20, maybe even over 30. So he has the Rubik, though, this game, which I actually enjoy. I think he's got a lot of spells to steal, specifically from Invoker, and pretty much everyone in general. He has Boots first, and he's going to try to keep the Invoker safe. It looks like he knows that there is going to be a roaming mine that's coming through the lane. He's going to pop the Ignite off and maybe just try to get the Refraction down. So
yeah, and that's a big deal. The level 1 Ignite does do enough damage to strip Refraction charges, so TA, if Ogre chooses to hang around here, TA is going to have a hard time, and I really agree with this decision here by Alliance to help Hani in these first couple of levels against Swindle's TA.
I mean, Minus probably will leave once Hani gets a good start, which, by the way, he is at 4 last hit, so maybe get, he also has an Emerald Talisman as well. Maybe get a couple more levels in Exhort, or just kind of make sure Swindle is not getting the farm that he wants, and then leave the lane alone. Top lane, Firefly's going. Limp is actually maybe taking some harasser from Aki. He does throw up the Arcane Bolt, but not enough damage to get the kill on Limp. He will just continue to Firefly around. And
yeah, and Aki's been super aggressive, and you can do that with a Slark. I mean, Slark has a lot of early damage potential with Pounce and with Dark Pact in lane. I mean, he can make a kill happen here if Limp walks around on low HP.
I mean, Limp is going to have to tango up, and he does his Firefly. He has his Sticky Napalm as well, and I think there are already stacks in the jungle here. There's one stack at this medium camp, nothing at the large camp. Yeah, there is actually a stack at the large camp as well. So Z-Freak is just making sure that this jungle is ready to go for Limp, and they can get an early Blink Dagger on their off-lane Bat Rider. So.
Yeah, and I think this is a smart decision. Limp is going to probably have to think about leaving this top lane a little bit earlier than you ordinarily want to on your Bat Rider, just because that Skywrath Slark combo is so scary in terms of its damage potential. Z-Freak looks like he's going to chase away Aki's Skywrath here, but he's going to be a presence around the map.
Z-Freak has been really selfless with his plays, just making sure Swindle's okay. We talked about the Ogre earlier, but I mean, Z-Freak's not really getting anything out of this. He's not really harassing. He's not getting really any experience. He is actually going to take the lane experience as they were going to go and get the bottom rune, which of course for Swindle is pretty good. It's a regen, so that'll allow him to be a bit more safe. So.
Yeah, that takes away a lot of the effectiveness of the Ogre's harassment. So, I mean, that's a very fortunate rune for him. But again, Ogre is able to bring so much more to this lane. And Rubik, it's a little bit of a concern here that he's still level 1. And you're going to see him sharing some of the experience with Limp's Batrider, who's got like 10 stacks already up on this camp.
Yeah, he's pretty happy. That's actually just a ton of sticky napalms, and he barely gets the kill on the Hellbear, and he actually has to almost think about going back home. And he's still level 2. He would really like to get level 3 and get the level 2 Firefly, but something important to note, Hani is actually just destroying this mid lane matchup. He has 20 last hits to the 8 of Swindle. That's actually incredible to me. This is a matchup that's not easy for Invoker, but he's doing well.
But MyNuts has arguably been the MVP of the match so far. And it's impossible to overstate.
Ace is going to stop it.
Oh, wow!
Good rage from Moon. Good stuff to actually just avoid getting stomped up, and they get the kill. And Moon getting on the board first, and probably an early Midas because of it.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see that. That's a kill that just shouldn't happen. I mean, that had to be a cold feet proc, yeah. And this is a little bit unusual. Generally, we're seeing AAs these days.
Avoids the concussive shot. Refraction's going to go in. There's the Fire Blast. The Refraction's already gone. Sunstrike. It's not going to be on point. Cold Snap goes in. RK Bolt the right click. Not enough. And here comes up. He's looking for Aki. He's going to get the kill. Minus going to get turned on as well. I don't know if Blimp's going to die for this. He's actually looking for Hani. Swindle's back in with the regen rune. They're going to right click Hani down as best as possible. Only level 1 side blades. The Meld Strike comes in. The Firefly for Limp's still there. 2, 3 charge with the Sticky Napalm. The right click should be enough for Swindle, and it is. So despite Hani having such a great time, it doesn't matter. Templar Assassin stays alive and gets the kill.
Man, oh man. Yeah, that turned that lane completely around, and what I thought was shaping up to be an excellent early game going in Alliance's direction just turned so dramatically with the first blood and that kill on Hani happening within a minute of each other. Gracious.
He's going to go for the race card Lifestealer build, the Phase Boots Drum combo.
Yeah. But that, again, we've talked about that though. This is his style. This is how he likes to play Dota, and Complexity has had some success doing this. I mean, they had some success doing it in the last game. They just weren't able to get enough done in that window.
So Moon is getting plenty of farm. He's up to the high CS total in the game at 32, and you look at Loda top lane, he's at 31. So Loda again having another good performance. He does have his Gloves of Haste. Looks like he will be purchasing a Midas this game, as he could just build into his treads right now if he wanted to, but he's holding onto those Gloves of Haste. So more than likely maybe a Midas being built here. He will need a couple more 100 gold for the recipe, but that's fine. Down bottom, there is this Observer Ward. Bloody Knight actually was looking for the kill on Ace. He actually did get caught out once. I'm not sure if he had that ward there.
He did. He's had that ward there since the beginning of the game, and that's why I wasn't looking for a kill on the bottom lane. I assumed with that ward, he would be able to position himself correctly to avoid the cold feet procs, even with open wounds going off.
So he actually does go down in spite of having vision in the lane.
Yeah, with that ward, right? That's a pretty serious misplay. I mean, you're not supposed to die in that lane with that ward up.
I think he got caught with Ice Vortex, and then they were able to just come in and cold feed him. So, really good play coming out from the Ancient Apparition. Top rune spot. Trap's gonna go. I don't think so. They see Loda as they see him rotate out of lane. They know that he's gonna come through in a second, so they decide against the kill. And bottom lane, they're not diving. They're just continuing to CS from Moon Meander here, who's got his Bracer. He's gonna get close to that drum. Still needs to throw the Magi in the recipe.
And Loda's going Midas on his Slark. Wow, this is a little bit surprising. And I guess, though, with what we've seen from Loda recently in terms of his farming capability, I guess I can't be surprised by him going Midas, but I'm still a little bit concerned because Moon is going to try to fight, despite Lifestealer not necessarily being the best matchup against Slark. You know that Complexity is going to come at you here around the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get up their phase drum combo for both Swindle as well as Moon, and then they'll probably get going here in the next couple of moments, and maybe Swindle picks up a Blink Dagger. I'm not sure. They see that the Ogre's roaming it again, so Minus has been making his home, and he's actually level 4. He's not doing too badly. They're going to counter this ward immediately, and this could be a big play coming in from Z-Freak. He's going to take a good night, but there's the trap coming in. The Fire Blast as well. Hani's roaming onto the backside. So is Ace. Did Z-Freak get the kill in the ward? He did. Telekinesis, but Double Edge is going to go that range, but Limp's going to come in. Stomp's going to go, and the Cold Feet is going to proc, and Ace will fall. That's definitely a better trade coming out from Complexity. They take down the offlaner, they get the ward, and only losing Z-Freak in exchange on the Rubik.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that's a huge trade for them, and I feel like they really needed that.
I mean, it's not just so much how much gold that they're getting out, it's more so that they're stopping the Centaur from farming up his Blink Dagger at this point. Z-Freak's going to get caught with the concussive shot. RK Bolt is going to go. Now they take rotation. Moon is going to go into Aki. Aki has dove too far, and they're going to try to take down the tower. Now Loda's going to use the Shadow Dance. There's the glyph. Loda has to back away immediately. They got to kill the siege creep, and they will, and it's just going to be another denied tower coming up from Complexity. Great rotation from Moon.
I mean, that happened in the previous game. Similar play where, remember, Loda's Anti-Mage getting baited at the top tier 1 tower by Moon's Centaur. Just same mistake there by Loda. He really had no real chance of killing that tower. They had the glyph in their back pocket, and that was a risk for sure.
So, luckily they don't lose Loda. He was level 6. He did have to pop the Shadow Dance there, but actually he's level 8. But Stampede's going to go down bottom. Looks like they're chasing after Bloody 9. Ace is going to jump on him. Double Edge is going to go. There's the open wounds. I don't think Ace goes down here. They don't have any follow-up. Ace could just run away, and Minus will be able to Fire Blast as soon as his break is over. He's going to infest out, though. Wow, that was so close. The Flame Break gets the kill. I didn't see him have the infest. The last was going to go through. Minus was hoping Limp didn't have level 6, but in fact, he's level 8, and that's a double kill for your Bat Rider. And he already has his Blink Dagger. He had it at about 8 minutes into the game. What a play coming out from Limp.
Yeah, that was a perfect play by the Moon Limp duo. I mean, they needed to use those abilities at those exact times in that exact sequence to get those kills, and they played it perfectly.
Really good stuff coming out. The Bat Rider getting involved early on, which is really, I think it's going to be important in this game. Ice Blast. Hani actually is going to get dove, but he'll probably die. He might throw a Sunstrike. He will. Z-Freak is not going to get hit up by it. Ace is going to come through as well. Z-Freak's going to avoid the stomp, and now Z-Freak's like, I got to telekinesis. Please don't chase me. He actually stole Double Edge. I don't think that's going to do much for him, but there's the telekinesis. He's going to throw him down to the low ground, and that was a nice spot for him. Trap's going to go, and actually they can't chase this because of the beautiful side trap placement coming out from Swindle Melons.
Yeah, I really want to see what Swindle's going to go as this next item here. This is going to give us a lot of information because I don't know. I feel like you've got your Bat Rider for initiation here. You don't really need the Blink Dagger. I feel like the Wagamama build would be a little bit better here, but I think you can go in either direction. And knowing just how aggressive Complexity likes to be with heroes like this, I wouldn't disregard the Blink Dagger at all.
Well, they have a lot of options here. As long as he continues to get farm, root control, towers even. Meld goes, and actually doesn't break the invis, which is important to note. Drums down, finished up for Swindle. And Moon decided just to get the casual bracer and have Swindle build the drum, and he'll go into the armlet.
Nice.
So
very nice. I think that's the right decision. I think TA in this match really needs the stats here. And boy, this would be huge. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's very dead, actually. He's up for 26 seconds, and the big problem with the Colossus Exhort Invoker is you're really dependent on that Midas timing. Like, you want to see it anywhere from 9 to 11 minutes, but if it's much further off than that, I don't know if it really is going to be as effective.
And how far has this turned around? I mean, Hani was at 20 CS so early in lane, and now he's only sitting at 45 CS at almost the 11-minute mark. They have just done such a good job of containing him despite the early support from Minuts on the Ogre.
Moon understands that there might be a gang squad. Everyone is missing off the map. Aki, Loda, and Minuts have rotated down bottom. And Moon's just going to head to the jungle, and they still could theoretically find him here. But his armlet's done now. It makes him that much harder to kill. He's pretty tanky, plus with infest. I mean, unless you're silencing him, and of course he has rage, so.
And they just threw the Ice Blast. Like, Bloody 9 had thrown like 4 straight Ice Blasts right on top of Hani. And it's just, Hani just had to be hating life. But it just speaks to what you said a moment ago, the importance of delaying that Midas for as long as possible on the Hani Invoker.
I mean, without that Midas, you're not necessarily useless, but I mean, you're not getting levels, which is your main goal as an Invoker. Like,
that's right. A level 7 Invoker at this point is just... I mean, what's he going to do in a fight? I mean, you need your level 9 on this hero so badly for those double Forge Spirits, or you're just not contributing anything.
I mean, he still does have Treads, he does have a Null Talisman and 1,000 gold in the bank, but that Midas is going to give him so much. And again, not just in
it speaks to how much pressure he's feeling that he actually felt like he had to complete the Treads before the Midas.
And they're going to go for the mid-tower. Swindle does pick up the casual Yasha. More than likely just going to be the casual Yasha.
This is the Wagamama build, and I think it's absolutely right here.
Moon does get silenced up. Is he dead? I think so.
Yeah, he can't rage. Yeah.
No rage coming out. The Ancient Seal was there. Limp does have lasso, but it looks like they don't even need it. Fable from Z-Freak. So even in the end, they get a 1-for-1 trade coming in. Ice Blast is going to sail through. It'll miss, but... again, 1-for-1. Moon does go down.
And a kill on the Lifestealer, though, is not... A kill on the Lifestealer is not like a kill on the Anti-Mage in the last game. Swindle is the one that looks like he's really going to snowball. He's going to kill Hani.
Is Hani dead again? Yes. He doesn't have a point in Wex. There's actually nothing he could do. Even if he had the Ice Wall and he just walked through it, it wouldn't have mattered. He was still taking too much damage from Swindle, who actually popped a drum charge for that kill. But Hani just gets further and further away. Actually,
Yeah,
he
he's
did get his
over 3
Midas.
full levels ahead.
He did get his Midas. Last was going to go
Yeah.
into Midas in his bottom lane. And this is a tanky ogre, but it's not tanky enough as Zefrich just zaps him down with the...
Yeah, Cole is looking to make a romp out of this. They really have everything that they need to
Dire's
just
bottom
absolutely
tower is
roll
under
over
attack.
Alliance right now. Look to run across the advantage.
The thing is, again, how much will Loda do this game? It's not like he's playing the Edge Mage like he did last game, but I mean, Slark is still a monster. We've talked about it before, so...
I mean, can I bitch for a minute about the freaking cold snap nerf on
Dire's
Invoker?
bottom
I
tower has
hated that
fallen.
change so much because now, without double forward spirits, I mean, Ice Wall is still underrated. Ice Wall can still be a very, very good spell, but you bring so little to fights before you hit level 9, and it's always such a risk that if you fall behind in lane and you're up against a bunch of heroes whose power who have these power spikes between levels 6 and 11 like Complexity has a lot of, your Invoker can just he can end up hurting you so much.
I'm not sure why they didn't just make Cold Snap QQE instead of QQQ and then have the damage based off of how many exort points you had. And that way,
That's
Claw
actually
Switch
not a
wasn't
bad
imbalanced,
suggestion.
and I think Claw's Exort is still just fine. So, and then put Ice Wall as QQQ, because Ice Wall doesn't really... How does Exort make any sense with Ice Wall?
Did you like? That's actually I've never heard anybody suggest that before. Did you hear that from somebody, or is that
I'm
something?
literally Ice Frog, guys.
Dude, that's actually really smart, man. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Just a thought, but who knows? Minuts is going to get lassoed. They will have an Ancient Seal. Beautiful time, but it doesn't matter because Moon Manor is hidden inside the Limp Bat Rider compartment. He jumps out. They get the kill on the Ogre Magi. He's dead as hell, but Swindle's also looking for Loda. He does scout him out, but...
Yeah, and this is how Complexity is they're just so comfortable playing in this kind of an environment.
Loda's going to have to bounce away. Flame Break pushing him back a bit further, but...
Yeah, and Loda, despite having the blink at a decent timing to follow up his Midas, there's really nothing that one Slark can do.
Well, the thing is, they won't be able to kill him, though.
Yeah, so what? I mean, you
true.
kill the other 4 heroes and kill the base. And
True.
the Slark is like, hey, I'm Slark, I can hit you, but...
Dire's
I'm
middle
still
tower
not
is
sold,
under attack.
again, after the last game Complexity showed. They actually are going to jump off the line. Mystic Flare's going to go. Limp was here. Loda's taking a bit of damage. He does Shadow Dance. There's the Stampede, and Limp's going to Firefly to the high ground. They do
Yeah.
reward there. Here comes Swindle. No blink, though, so he is actually, I think, going for the death, so he has the Invincible Hammer.
Oh,
Flame
God.
Break's going to push them all forward, so they can't chase any further.
And that's
So-
the difference, though, between
Yes.
now and the last game, is you've got a TA that is on pace for this just stupid early Desolator.
Radiant's
I mean,
top tower is under
they
attack.
had a lead last game, but I don't know that they had any one individual hero that had that kind of just ridiculous spike damage output.
I mean, with a Desolator, Swindle's just going to melt through every single one of these heroes.
Yeah, and we talked in the draft about Alliance being so tanky, right? I mean, this is supposed to be a hard game. This is supposed to be a hard team to kill on Alliance, but TA gets this Desolator up at 18 minutes, and she's just gonna melt them.
I mean, Slark needs a Scotty, otherwise this game's going to get out of control. Luckily, I mean, you look at Loda right now, he has the point booster. So again, he's getting started on it. I mean, Scotty's not the easiest item to build. It's going to take some time, but also, that's a 16-minute Blink Dagger coming out from Zefrich. When did he get that much farm?
Yeah, and again, we talked about the impact that Z-Freak could have on this Rubik. Getting an early positioning item on him is just so huge. And the answer, by the way, when did he get this much farm, is he's been around the map. Puzzling to me, he only has 1 assist, but it feels like he's been a part of some of these engagements. Oh boy, this would be huge opener.
Man, they're going to get it. And Ace actually
Very
just
big
got
deal.
his Blink Dagger as Zefrich got the other. So that's the trade-off. Also, important to note, last time I saw Rubik get the solo leave a Blink Dagger against the Centaur, it was MMY. And say what you will about MMY, which is he's damn good.
I was going to say, if you say anything negative about MMY, you're crazy, but that's just me.
But he was able to jump in and actually have better Centaur stomps than the Centaur did in that game. So
Well, okay, yeah. That much is like, yeah, that's the player, man. I mean, that guy I have seen make some of the sickest plays on a couple of different heroes that I can name.
they
Unreal.
really have to get this
Here's
kill
the
on
bat
Loda.
bomb
Dark
on
Pack,
Loda.
though, it's not going to go, I don't think. The Infest is going to come out. The Ice Blast as well. The Flame Break. They finally take down Loda, the tanky-ass hero, the slippery-ass
Dire's
hero that he
top
is.
tower
And
is under
they're going to
attack.
move forward and just try to take this Tier 1 tower as well. And that's a really big kill coming out for Complexity. That's the hero, that's the Goliath on Alliance side, so
Yeah, and despite the kill on Swindlemons, I just don't know
Dire's
that
structures
Alliance
are
are going to have
fortified.
what it takes to defend any of these towers, and it's
Dire's
so
top
important now
tower
with all
is
the
under
T1s
attack.
down. You know, Alliance have no more get out of jail free cards. They're going to give up damage on the T3s at least.
Moon is actually way out of position. He doesn't get his rage up before the silence, and Moon's gonna die here. He stayed way too long.
Weird
His team kind of
play.
exited.
Weird play. Not just the fact that he was out of position, but when you are in that position, your finger just has to be poised over that rage button.
Yeah, it's a lot like Dark Pack in the same situation for both of these
Dire's
cores.
middle
So
tower is
But
under
at the same
attack.
time, I mean, it's people don't realize like that Ancient Seal is an instant 700 range silence, and that 700 range is what makes that ability so amazing.
I wonder why Scarith Mage has picked a competitive play.
Well, he's sucked lately, but yeah, the range on that ability is what just makes him so scary.
Swindle has an 18-minute Desolator coming out, and they're going to just try to take
Yeah,
Roche on.
and they're
there's
going
no
to
work
look
here
at this
for
like, bye.
Roche is actually just dead.
Like, he's
Swindle's
killing
soloing
Roche
this.
by himself about as fast as Lotus AM killed Roche at like, 25, 30 minutes in the previous game. TA's damage output right now with these kinds of items is just stupid.
So now you have, I think, go time for Complexity. There's
Oh,
no
God,
reason not
yes.
to fight. You have your Armlet on your Lifestealer. Swindle has his Desolator.
Dire's
There's
bottom
Blast. They even have a
tower is
freaking
under
gem on the
attack.
Bat Rider.
Yeah,
So
look
now,
at her
not
click
only do you
this
have no
tower.
map control for Alliance, you also have to fight into ridiculous damage coming out from them as well. And the best bet that you have is kiting them and
they've
hoping to
given it
God
up.
that Hani has something. Hani did get his 4-step. We haven't kept tabs on him. He's level
Dire's
11 now, so
bottom tower has
he's recovered
fallen.
successfully, but this is, of course, given objectives to Complexity as well. They're going
So
to jump on
telling.
Minuts, and Minuts is just the Melt Strike, the Zap, and another hit. So 2 hits and a Fade Bolt coming in.
To me, all you need to know about this match is that right before Complexity took down that T2, Ace's Centaur TP'd out to top lane to try and push. Like, they know how far behind they are.
Loda's gonna jump in. He does have a shot against. Ledvin's gonna get Mystic Flare. That's huge. That's the gem on the deck. They don't even know. Moon's not gonna pick it up. They're gonna back away. They don't want to fight this. They don't have their lasso. Swindle still has the Aegis. How much can he actually do here? And it probably is a lot. Moon's gonna come in rage.
Yeah,
There's
they
gonna
can
be
win
the
the
open wounds.
fight here.
Force away. Hani has the gem. He
Hani's
might
dead.
get out here. He's gonna try to Ghost Walk. No such luck. The Melt Strike, and now the Lifestealer has the gem. They even get the kill on the Scarith Mage. Is this a 20-minute set of racks for Complexity?
Yeah,
We'll
easily.
see.
I mean, there's what are they going to do?
They're
to
going to buy
stop
back on the
TA?
Invoker first and foremost. They are going to pounce at a Swindle. He might go down here. And it looks like, no, he refracts it just in time. Ace taking the right click. Swindle is cold snap, but this is only the Aegis. And Moon is now going to work on Hani. Look at Moon go to town. He doesn't have any way of slowing him down. No SNY, no Basher, but Swindle's just going to go in here. The pounce might go, Melt Strike, and Swindle, oh, he's so close. He really wants Hani. Hani's just hiding in the trees. They will finally take down this
They're
melee
going to go right
Rax.
through back door. Oh, God.
Get out. It's time to leave for Complexity. Concussive shot will go. Swindle has no refraction. He will have Melt Strike, though, but oh, he's dead. And no, Moon, you've stayed too long, my friend. He's going to keep toggling him. This is a bit kind of sketchy for Complexity. Sunstrike's going to go and miss completely. Limpus here, he's got Lasso, but... Oh, the infested side limp to play. He's going to make it out because of that. Bloody Nine might not be so lucky. They have the trap. Use the trap. No! Use the trap and he's dead. Bloody Nine's going to die.
It doesn't matter, though. If they get Loda here...
Loda here, if he dies, this could be huge. The Shadow Dance doesn't matter. There's the Flame Break. Minuts is going to go down as well. Looks like the Stampede not enough. Double kill for your Bat Rider. Blink Stomp, though, they will pick up Moon. So in the end, it's still pretty good for Alliance. They did lose Loda, and they defend their range
it's not,
racks,
though.
but...
It's not, though, and here's why, right? The big deal is, in 6.82, if you can trade cores for an early racks, you absolutely do it, especially if you still have your tier 1s up, right? Because they still have tier 1s up in 2 of these lanes. They have 2 free glyphs left. Right? So even if they lose the next big team fight, first of all, they've pushed in enough, all the lanes are pushed in enough, that Alliance
Dire's
isn't even going to be able to make it onto their side of the map after getting those kills. Second, even if they lose another fight, Alliance still have to get through those 2 tier 1s and the double glyphs to even be able to pressure a T2. I mean, that's, to me, like, the other thing that tier 1 change does is if you get to a point
Dire's middle
in the
tower is under
match
attack.
where you still have your tier
Dire's
1s up
structures
and
are
you have most of the
fortified.
enemy's structures down, the lead is just tremendous.
I mean, the fact that there are no tier 1s is pretty, it's pretty sad. I mean, they have the one top. Ace is going to die, meanwhile. Sunstrike's going to miss, but, I mean, the one tier 1, they don't really have a great closer lineup here, with the exception of the Invoker if he gets forward grids. But even at this point, 22 minutes in, it's not really when you want to get it when you're this far behind. They're going to jump in. Minus gets blown up by a Fade Bolt and a Meld Strike from Swindle. And the second tier 2 tower is going to take a spill here for Alliance, and it's just getting that much more worse.
One more fight, I think Alliance, if they lose it, call it, because they're TA has just so snowballed so hard in this game. I mean, look at the net worth, right? And they have absolutely no answer to that kind of damage output.
And right now you can see, like, the Loda pickup, I think, was smart up against Moon and this lineup of Complexity, but it doesn't matter if the rest of your team is dying. I mean, the Invoker, really, the pick hasn't panned out yet. It still theoretically could. Well, he has a Yule Scepter, but...
And TA, one of the few heroes. We talked in the draft about there are not many heroes in the game that want to stand toe-to-toe with a Slark. TA is one of the few heroes that can, especially if she gets this kind of farm early. She can put the Slark down, even with Pestle Shift.
He's getting the last one to Minus. The right click coming through the Telekinesis, and another easy kill coming out from Complexity. Moonman will pick this one up, and he's got his SNY, so 1,000 gold. He uses a race card. Didn't pick up the drum. He doesn't need it. Rage going through. They throw one Desolator Strike on, which reduces the armor. Just keep refreshing that as much as possible, so Moon could just tank up all of the damage and work on the tower. They will push them back. The tier 3 now at half health, so looks like Alliance, they're maybe waiting to go. I'd say they could probably wait for another Roshan. They already have the BKB on Swindle. Maybe get another item on Moon as well and then go from there. But at this point, they're the ones with control. And as long as Slark doesn't get like a million kills in a row, which, by the way, has happened before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Slark is one of those heroes, and he's making good progress toward his Scotty. He's going to have that probably before Complexity have a chance to end the game, unless they can take just a monumental engagement. I mean, Slark is one of those heroes that he can snowball at any point in the game so quickly, but they've got to find a way to address this TA.
Alliance will have 2 buybacks if they somehow lose a fight here, which will be one of which being the Slark, the other being Ace on the Centaur, who, by the way, is a Sanj, so unless he buys something here, but I don't expect him to. So, I mean, if Alliance lose a fight at this point in time, with the exception of Loda, I think it might just be, it might be over. So, Complexity will push it to the high ground. Swindle is going to go ahead and refresh his Refraction Charge, or rather his Desolator Charge again, and this time he's actually just clicking the tower down. The tier 3 is going to go down, and Alliance aren't even defending this tier 3. They'd rather just make sure that the Raxes are safe, and they are for now. But a tier 3 is not something you just want to give away for free.
Yeah, and I mean, how is Alliance going to make any kind of space outside their base right now?
Well, I think it comes down a little. You saw Ace was split pushing bottom.
Yeah,
and they actually do force the TP from the AA, but I guess that's not even that big of a deal because he can just Ice Blast.
Exactly. I mean, he basically becomes the long-range artillery with that kind of strange mechanic that the radius of Ice Blast increase with distance. He's a hero that, I mean, I've seen AAs like hiding in the trees in pro matches before.
Honestly, this hero is actually still pretty good. I think it's in a good position right now. It's not picked too often, but when it is...
Well, it never went away remember that it never went away on the Eastern scene. The Chinese teams, and to some extent the SAE teams, have always been picking AA.
Yeah, that's true. It's a hero that's solid. And Lip is now going to have a Moon Meander Lifestealer inside of him, inside of his Bat Rider, and they're going to look to maybe find an engagement, but... Look at Alliance, and this is how they have to play. They have to farm together. They really cannot go outside the base alone unless they get picked off. So
yeah, and when you have a Slark that's afraid to be alone on the map, boy, that's a tough situation to be in, because this is supposed to be one of those heroes that has no fear and can be anywhere on the map he wants to be.
I mean, the AoE ability, the only AoE lockdown they really have is Flame Break, and that's not much of an AoE lockdown, so it really comes down to Loda just getting his Dark Pact off.
Yeah, but it's still so scary, because if you get caught in range of this TA, she can just right-click you down so fast.
Pretty short Roche respawn duration, by the way. It's going to be up in less than a minute.
Yeah,
so.
And that's a little bit unfortunate, too, because the timing was such that Alliance looked like they were going to try and control that part of the map, but Complexity have had time to regroup, and the Roche is going to spawn when they have plenty of control.
Now, there are some wards up here for Alliance.
That's an interesting meteor.
He just metered a creep wave, maybe, or
no? He just metered that tree because everybody hates trees. Anyway,
well, Yeah, that's down for 42 seconds. That's actually, I think, one of the longest cooldowns for Invoker, but
It is, yeah, it is the
he's
longest.
going Ag Interceptor, so I like the choice. I love Ag's Invoker, but
I do, although it's one of those, it's such a painful decision because I love Ags on Invoker more than I love kind of a bad item, to be honest.
Roshan has fallen to
it
the
doesn't really
radiant.
provide much, especially if some of the. I mean, you need Refresher for it to be super effective.
Well, I mean, it's more that there are just so many items like Sheep that are just, even Scotty on Invoker, that are just so fantastic. And Ags, as a value proposition, Ags is just not great compared to those other items. I mean, Invoker he needs a lot to be effective.
I mean, because how often are you going to be using all of those spells? It's going to get jumped on. That's a big deal. I mean,
It is.
they could actually just turn this into Roshan if they wanted to. There's no buyback for Limp. So,
Yeah.
okay, Alliance, if they can get Rosh here, all of a sudden, I mean, we saw this last game. This is how they got big in the last game. They smoke up, they get a kill, they transition that into an objective, and then from there, they just continue to take fights, or they farm up and then start taking fights. And with Loda getting a Scotty, it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to be able to take a couple of objectives off the back end of that kill. It's still difficult, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, look at that.
Dire's
That
bottom
that
barracks
AA
are
Ice
under
Blast
attack.
is pretty effective in terms of even the threat of it deterring these pushes, and Alliance has to feel it like they have to back off. They're not
They
even
actually
gonna
lost the
control
range X bottom.
Yes.
They weren't there to defend it, got pushed in by the melee creeps, and they just killed it. The siege group was there as well, so they did even glyph, but I'm sure that's probably for the better. And
Yeah, no, you can't blow glyph for just that. As silly as it sounds saying you can't blow glyph for a Rax, you lose a fight. That's the difference between the game ending and not.
Stampede was stolen. Z-Freak is like, I actually might be in trouble. Babel's going to go. Sunstrike is not going to connect. Z-Freak is able to avoid it. And Bloody Knight's going to come in. He doesn't have cold feet anymore, so there's no way he could stop him from TPing. It was a good try, though.
Yeah, and that's not even. It would have been a nice kill, but really what they need to do is group up and just 5-man push at this point.
I mean, they just took Roche, I believe. TA should have the Aegis. In fact, Swindle does. And they're going to go top. I mean, there's no tier 3 tower here.
Goodness.
And without a set of racks, I don't see any way Alliance get back into this game. They have no real wave clear whatsoever. I don't see. They don't split push.
This is not a turtling team. That's kind of thing. Alliance is a team that at this point in the game is supposed to be taking the fight to your enemies. I mean, Slark, as is for most heroes, the best way to beat a Slark is just to keep him inside his base, because he's not going to be able to make something happen if the only fights are occurring on his base steps.
I think also this is, I think you mentioned this. This is when Alliance are hitting their stride, because you
Yeah.
have a Scotty and maybe, I don't know what Loda's getting next, but a Scotty, maybe a BKB, and Hani has plenty of items to work with as well. Like, he's just starting to get farmed, and Complexity are just too far ahead at this point. They are 14,000
Exactly.
net worth ahead, and
Now, and we
experience-wise, 7,500. So.
A big part of the comeback that we talked about in the last match was that Loda hit his stride right around the time that Alliance had got a couple of big kills anyway.
Class is going to go in. Hani's going to get caught. Will he have buyback? No, he's dead for 73. And now Loda's jumping in. He has to Shadow Dance. Stampede. Loda doesn't have buyback either. But BKB is going to get popped. Minus walks forward. And he's like, oh, I guess I'm dead to Desolator. And Swindle gets a double kill.
Dude.
And Raxes are going to fall. Open wounds on an Ace. And they aren't going to lose a single hero yet in this engagement. Complexity might just take this fight and game cleanly. 26 to 13. 2 sets of Rax down. And Alliance are looking at the barrel. Looking down the barrel of a draw here for the
Goodness
second
gracious.
series in Dota Pit League.
I mean, you hyped Swindle's TA at the beginning, and I'm thinking, I've seen him play some okay TA games, but boy, that hype was justified. This was the tour de force. He took over this game and just never let go.
No, yeah, this was a game where Swindle got kind of shut down for the first minute or so. With a kill, he was able to just jump back in. Like, as soon as Hani died, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to get plenty of CS. And then I'm going to have an early Mansa, or rather an early Yasha, phase, drum, Desolator at 18 minutes into the game. So, kind of ridiculous coming up from Swindle as 709 GPM. And that might rival the performance of Loda.
Oh yeah,
last
I
game.
think individually, we said this earlier that Swindle, when he is on, might be the best player on Complexity. He's certainly had his inconsistencies, but this is the most dominant performance I've seen from him. And yeah, I mean, shout out to my favorite TNA man, Wagamama. This is a performance that I think would make Waga proud.
Yeah, it was really good stuff coming out from Complexity in that second game. Fast start, fast end as well. So, to those of you guys watching, series is over. We're done for today. today. It's a 1-1 split between Alliance and Complexity, and that'll put Complexity at 8-4. Alliance is sitting at 3-5. So Alliance getting off to kind of a rough start with their first game back in the tournament, as they did replace